He's supposed to. Sweet. Oh, like right now. Okay, awesome. Sweet. We are off to the races. Thank you, Hunter. I'm glad there's only a couple of you because oh, don't tell me that, guys. Uh, you're the ones that are on time. Yeah, Molly said there's about 10 of you, maybe, right? Okay, awesome. Um, well, I'm Amy Erdmann, and I was asked to teach about open houses. And so just before we get too far, I want to know your guys' names and how long you've been. I mean, you're new, but just tell me a little bit about what got you into real estate and why you're here. So we'll start with you.
I'm April Ramsey.
Okay.
I am started real estate just to have something for myself.
Okay.
I've been a mom and a wife for lots of years, and I've done jobs, but just like for fun.
Sure.
Not like a career or not something that I wanted to like necessarily pursue long term. And this is something that I think can provide that and still let me do
Sure.
my others.
Awesome. Awesome. It's nice to meet you, April.
Hi, I'm Cesar Quesada. I've had my license for a couple months now. I'm one to tend to, I know it's bad, if it goes bad, but I like to gain all of the knowledge before I start like putting it into action.
Sure.
So I need to start working on that. But the reason I got into real estate was mainly for the investing aspect of it. And also I wanted to kind of like tinker, maybe it's flipping houses because I'm like the hands-on person. So kind of those two reasons mainly, but I'm glad to be here and see where it takes me.
Awesome. Awesome. Now I think you did an open. Did you do an open house for me? Okay. 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 Awesome. What's your okay?
I've just had my license for like 2 weeks.
Awesome. Congratulations. Yeah.
I've been about 6 or 7 years. Long-term rentals, done short-term rentals. I've just launched the short-term rental in Hurricane, a huge family house.
Awesome.
Super fun and it's taken way more work than it should. So I gotta figure out how to do that. I got into real estate sales as just kind of an extension of the investing side, wanting to like branch out a little bit. And then as I've been studying, I've just been getting like more and more excited about real estate sales itself and helping people find solutions to their health problems because it seems like everyone has a health problem. So,
For sure. For sure. Awesome. Awesome. Great. Thank you.
My name's Ivan.
Ivan.
I'm waiting on my license. I should possibly in a while. I sent application, but yeah, I'm just looking forward to get started.
Awesome. So brand new, which is great. When I joined Keller Williams, I had already been in the business for let's see, when did I join? So I actually started my real estate career in 2020. I got my license in July of 2020. So I started with a different brokerage and I knew that I wanted to be on a team. I've always had in my career, I've always been part of a team. And so team is just was an important part to me. And so I joined a team with a brokerage and we were in the heat of COVID, right? I mean, just in the middle of it. So we, both me and my husband, took our classes on Zoom, kind of like this, like our Ignite classes is what you would essentially call them, just through a different brokerage. And we were actually living with my in-laws because my husband had been going to pilot school and then COVID stopped that. I can like hear myself, yeah, a little bit. So, so we jumped into real estate because COVID kind of put a stop to that pilot school for my husband. And so we did these classes with our other brokerage and we learned a ton. Like I was just going through my computer not too long ago, looking at the slides and stuff like that. So it's great that you guys are here and trying to absorb it all to get your business rolling for sure. And then I joined Keller Williams. Let's see, when did I join Keller Williams? 2021, I believe. And rest is history. I mean, this is such a great place to be. So I am on the red sign team, and it's just all I could have asked for, really. So I'm going to be honest, I don't love teaching. Probably everybody says that, right? But there are some that are just made to teach. I am not one that is made to teach. So I'm going to do my best. And there are things that I have to specifically tell you in here. So if you see me reading it, I am, because I want to make sure that you get that information that they're wanting you to receive, because it's very important. And I kind of incorporated my own things a little bit. When I was in the beginning, open houses were my jam. I just figured that is going to be the best and easiest way to generate leads, right? I mean, for me, that was just like a no-brainer. Host a party in someone else's house, and then make friends. So I've done a lot with open houses and have kind of put my own spin on it. But just, we're going to follow the slides as well. So just know that I'm not trying to be all over the place. Well, let's see here. And the way they sent it to me was kind of hard to see, like what they wanted me to say. And how do I make this turn? Do they? Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. So I was looking through it, and there is a lot of information, and there's some stuff that they are requiring me to say. So we'll see how this goes. We'll just see how it goes. But just know that I'm very laxed, and I am not a professional teacher. So if I read this, it's because they're wanting me to tell you something specific. So okay, so have you guys had a other lead generation, this one, right? So grow your database, generate your leads. So tell me kind of what you guys talked about in the generate your leads. That's pretty broad. What type of things did you talk about in that class? Okay. Okay. Any specific ways to grow it?
Just be consistent.
Okay. Awesome. Yep. Okay. Yep. DTT2. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. What about the grow your database? I'm assuming that was like a big picture of different ideas of how to grow. And now we're kind of focusing in on those specifics. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so I want to make sure that any questions that you guys may have, I cover. So I want to know if there is anything specific that you are wanting to know, or any questions that you might have. We're going to jot those down just so I make sure and cover them.
I'm sure you'll cover this later, but how, in your opinion, how much of your back, how many of your closings come from open house?
Okay. Okay. And I don't write on boards, so just so y'all know. Okay.
Say to people to kind of
Yep. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Also, like, if you are trying to figure out if these people are just looky-loos or if there's somebody who's actually
Serious.
and looking for an agent to work with.
Okay.
It's like, oh, we're just gonna look at this, and then we know something.
Yep. Okay. Good. Good, good, good. If any other questions come along, please let me know, okay? Let's see here. Oops. All right, so are all of you guys on the WhatsApp new opportunities? You guys are seeing all of those opportunities coming through, right? Okay, so one thing that is so great about open houses, we're actually gonna talk about this a little bit, but it doesn't have to be your listing, right? And in fact, sometimes I'd rather it not, like if it's my listing, I would almost rather not do the open house simply because I can't represent the buyer because I already represent the listing, right? And we just don't allow that. Dean doesn't allow that limited agency in the office. I almost said clinic. I'm sorry if I do that. I worked in a clinic for 17 years, so I tend to just say that. Um, so uh, so a lot of times it's hard to want to convert a buyer if it is your own listing because you're not able to represent them anyways. All right, so let's see. It says to have you guys have accountability partners that you've been assigned to? Yes, no? Okay, great. All right. So we're gonna talk, this is kind of our agenda for the day. What's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah, awesome. We're glad to have you, Sarah. So we're gonna talk about how we capture the leads, then the best practices with those leads, prepare, prospect, pursue, any ahas, and then kind of a daily success system that you can use after the open house. All right. So can somebody read this quote for me?
Nothing else about your business will have a big an impact on it as the number of leads you have.
Okay. Nothing else about your business will have as big an impact on it as the number of leads you have. Tell me what you think about that. It does make sense. It is. Yep. Yep.
I do disagree with it a little bit.
Okay.
Because I mean, maybe it leads into it, but I think about like, this is about like how you treat people. You're gonna have leads by the way that you treat people.
Sure.
So I think like that has a bigger impact on just your leads. Like that's how you're gonna have leads. That's how you're gonna grow your business. It's how you treat people.
Yeah. Awesome. Yes. Yeah. The way you treat people, that's going to grow that leads, right? Yeah, for sure. For sure. Awesome. So it says, as a new agent, open houses are easy, fun, and low cost way to find buyers. Your goal in holding an open house is not only to sell the home, which I don't necessarily know that I agree with that. I'll tell you why in just a minute. But it is to put yourself in the path of opportunity, the business opportunity to meet people, add to your database, and set appointments, especially with interested buyers. Let's see. All right, so this is saying that you need to be aware of what COVID regulations are, and believe it or not, you will still find people that are concerned about COVID or anything else that has opened up doors, I think, since I did get in right at COVID. That's kind of all I know. But I know that having conversations with your sellers about what their concerns are with doing an open house as people are going to become walking through their property is really important. So you just want to make sure that you're explaining to your sellers what's going to be happening, how you're going to be protecting their personal property, and keeping their house clean, right? And so, and you want to make sure that you are recognizing and applying anything that they would want, expect of you. Let's see. All right. Okay, so I'm sure that you guys have talked so much about mindset so far, right? Because I think this mindset is probably, for me, has been the biggest challenge in the whole business, not just with open houses. Mindset is something that I've struggled with even before real estate. And so I feel like Keller Williams offers a really good, offers everything really good with when it comes to the mindset, right? And so same thing with um, open houses. There's lots of problems that you might think is happening, and we're going to kind of help you get think past these and show you how you can accomplish them, get over them. Okay, so I don't have a listing to hold an open house. I don't have signs yet. I may not know the answers to the questions that visitors have. Open houses don't really work because most people look online and I won't feel safe. These are all very valid. Are there any other limiting beliefs that might come into your head that you have maybe thought about open houses? Yep. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I felt the same way. Um, but open houses, if you know about the property, I mean, it's pretty easy to get to know about that specific property. I feel like open houses open the door for you as a new agent to look very knowledgeable because you are focused on one specific property, right? And then it opens that door to say, but this is how well I know this property. So I took the time to learn what I needed to learn about this property, and I'll do that for the next property if this one doesn't happen to be the right one.
Also,
So,
as a new agent, they're not gonna ask you how long you've been doing it, most likely.
yep.
So you don't have to say, like, this is my first open house, or, like.
Yeah, it's true.
So it helps to be like the expert, and even though you're still learning.
Definitely, definitely.
Like, do it for every listing or just certain ones?
Yeah. So we will get into that a little bit more, but first of all, I always go off of what the market is telling me. So that's what I do. I go off of what the market is telling me. And location plays a big part into that as well. So there's a few factors that you can take into consideration when doing an open house. By general rule, when I'm presenting a listing packet or my listing presentation to a potential seller, it's always offered. An open house is just part of my listing that you get when you work with me as your agent. It's just included. So that's kind of what I go off. And we'll look a little bit at the other two, the other things that kind of determine that in just a little bit. Let's see. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the area, location plays a big part in it. How many, like right now we're about 60 days on market roughly for the average price of what, $600,000 home. So we're about 2 months on market. So would I suggest do an open house and something like that? Yep, definitely. And you kind of, sometimes it depends on what your seller's goals are. I mean, if your seller's goal is to, they just, they've decided to price a little bit under market value, maybe to drive in multiple bids. Sometimes you don't need an open house to make that happen. Sometimes you do. So, was there two of the same slide? Did it pop up twice? I feel like it was. Anyways. Okay, so first we're going to talk about capturing the leads with open houses. I don't use Command, not by my choice. Like on a team, we use a CRM called Brivity, and so I'm not super familiar with Command. And at the end, it wants me to show you how to add them and all of that. I'm not going to be able to do that because I've just never used command. When I came into Keller Williams, I was only a solo agent for maybe 6 weeks, and then I jumped on Red Sign team. So I'm not super familiar with that. But you will get lots of command training, and then Hunter will be able to help you as well with all of that. But okay. So we know that there are two main goals for hosting an open house, right? So tell me what those are. Generate leads, okay, yep. And sell the house, exactly. Yep, those are the two things that we'd really want to do. So who benefits from holding an open house? Seller does, yep. Agent, yep. Buyers, yep. The neighbors. That's right. That's right. How many times have you walked through your neighbor's house during an open house, right? Yeah. So yeah, we're just nosy. We just want to know what's going on. We want to see how people decorate. I don't know. We want ideas. So we want to see. So they definitely the neighbors definitely benefit as well.
Curious about this, but in the open house, is it all decorated? Is it like fully furnished?
Yep, yep. So it again depends on the market. There was plenty of times during COVID that I never had a staged home. I mean, houses were just flying off the shelves. Yeah. We didn't have to have a staged home to sell a home, to sell it. We just didn't. So, and it really does kind of depend on the situation. Preferably presentation wise, yeah, it's so much better to have it. My opinion. I mean, there's no stated rules, but my opinion is to have it staged. Yeah, and if not with the seller's furniture, then have a stager come in and make it look amazing, which there's a handful in our office. So, yeah.
I was actually that I flipped, stage 7.
Okay. Yes.
They just think it's like $1,500.
Yep, for a month or something.
Yeah, and they just did an amazing job. Literally, they brought a team in,
Yep.
this like truck, and they all had bins, and it was done in like an hour and a half.
Yep.
Just like the 5 main rooms, like the kitchen, the master, the bathrooms, the office, and then the living room.
Uh-huh. Yeah, like the sitting or the extra sitting room or living room.
Yeah.
Yep.
Money well spent. Of course, it was my money,
Right.
but I thought they did. I think it pays off.
For sure. Yeah. Yep. So I listed a house in Spanish Fork that was just a really awkward floor plan. It was really different. And man, staging made all the difference in getting that house sold because people could see what you could do with this really awkward space. And the interesting thing is that during the open house, a lot of people would walk in and be like, oh, this is where I could put my piano. I can't tell you how many times people said, this is where I would put my piano, but we didn't even have it staged with a piano. It was just staged with a couple of chairs and a little end table or something and a plant, but it opens the idea of what could go in there rather than just a blank space. Some people can do blank spaces and see it. I'm one that needs to see something and then I can progress from there. So I prefer staged as well, definitely, and I feel like it's money well spent as well. And it doesn't necessarily have to come from the seller, right? The seller doesn't necessarily have to pay it. That can be something that you negotiate with your sellers. It can be something that you include in your listing. It just kind of depends on how you want to run your business. So.
Yeah, so that's what I was just
Yeah.
So are there a lot of agents who pay for that service?
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like.
And that's the problem with people have moved out.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
still have their stuff, they want a place for their stuff, they're still living there. Oh. So it's more of like trying to talk them into getting a bunch of their stuff out,
Yeah.
not everything, so that it looks staged, not like
Just so it looks
overcrowded, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely want to talk about the 3 Ds, right? Depersonalize, declutter, and deep clean. Those are things that we talk about in when I meet with a seller. Those are the 3 things that we really talk about. And a lot of people, sometimes you'll like all of a sudden just see them gloss over and they're just gone. And then you're just like, oh, no, wait, I have somebody that can help you with this. Even if the stager isn't going to come in and bring all this furniture, you can still have a stager come in and give them tips on what they should and shouldn't do, where they should put stuff, things like that. So, and a buyer understands that somebody's still living there. And as a buyer's agent, you should help your client understand there's somebody still living here. This is still their home. So, yes.
Hire someone to come in and help clutter.
I've never hired anybody, but I would imagine so. I would imagine, man, wouldn't that be like such a um fulfilling job to go declutter somebody's home? Holy smokes. I'd feel so accomplished. Yep.
Really hard, like inertia point, get them move on that because it's so.
It's true. It's true. So yeah, as far as like your decluttering, like just because you're a clutter bug, I'm sure there's somebody that can come in and help you. But like then you almost cross a line where it's like, okay, this isn't decluttering, this is like removing the junk. This is like, and yes, there are definitely people that will come and haul the junk off for you for a flat fee. They'll just do it all. So I've had 2 properties that I've hired. I haven't, the seller has hired them, and they've come and just literally cleaned everything out of the house and hauled it off. So yeah, and it's been a really big relief for my sellers because they were doing it as like they were the executor of the trust, right? So it was like a brother's home or a yeah, yeah, and it's just been lifting a burden off of their shoulders. So it's been very, very rewarding for them. So, let's see. Okay, so for you as the agent, an open house, you want to capture the leads of potential buyers and sellers, and they may not be right away, but in the future. And then connect with the neighborhood. Uh, that's something that you as the agent can really do is connect with that neighborhood and kind of become your niche per se. Or if you want to look into geo farming, that's a good way to get things rolling there. Yes. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Yep.
But I'm sure you get into it. With the beforehand, would you recommend going like the night before?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk to you. Everybody does it different. That's 100% my opinion, I feel like. But I do feel like there are some yeah, definitely some strategies when it comes to that. So you want to make sure that you're placing signs through the neighborhood, right? That there's an open house bringing people in. And then you want to make sure that you're practicing conversations and answering questions to provide that value that buyers or sellers that are coming to walk through may have. Let's see. All right. Okay, so benefits of open houses. When I started in real estate, to me this was just like the easiest thing. I mean, who wants to get up and make calls every day? I mean, do you guys? Are you guys like so excited to get up and make calls to your SO? Right? I'm not gonna convince you. Yes, and adding the people to your database, right? And yes, and I'm sorry, what was your name? Just so I know. You're fine. Kevin. Okay. Nice to meet you, Kevin. Awesome. Just getting started then. Great. Great. Welcome. Yeah, I mean, making those phone calls, right? I'm almost 4 years in, and boy, I still have to get my mindset and pump myself up to make those calls because it is tough, right? It is tough. So the benefits of an open house from my perspective was like, this is the easiest that it could possibly be. Why in the world would somebody not want to do this? Because they're coming in at their free will, right? They're walking in. So that just makes it so much easier to have a conversation. And we know why they're coming in. So we don't have to, it doesn't have to be awkward at first. And so for me, it was just super, just a super easy way to do it. They're very inexpensive. You can host a very successful open house for nothing, your time, right? There are some that can go elaborate. We'll talk a little bit about that. But you definitely don't have to make it successful. It's a great prospecting tool, high return on investment, and then qualified leads. Your leads in open houses tend to be a little more qualified. Every once in a while, you will get them looky-loos, right? But the majority of them tend to be more in the market looking to buy or sell. So,
Gonna open house that
no, Saturday, okay.
Frustrating is the only way that I know of right now, unless I know a person agent that is willing to allow me to do home house for them, is just finding the opportunities.
Yeah.
You get lots of opportunities, but every time I get on there,
It's fast. Yes, it's fast. Is getting over, is finding the opportunities. Yeah. So there's a couple of suggestions that I have. So we do have the WhatsApp app. In team meeting on Tuesdays, you guys able to attend team meeting? Okay. Okay. So every Tuesday they go over the listings that are new that week. So if I were you, I would probably be listening to that portion of the team meeting, and then I would be jotting down the agents that do have those listings, and then I would go speak to them right then and there and say, hey, I'm here. I want to do open house. If you want to open house on this property, I would be more than happy to do that. So that would be another way. You could also go and set yourself up like a listing alert. Like if you can't make it to team meeting, like I get it, we have other things happening too. I don't always make it to team meeting. I have kids, I have a husband. So set yourself up a listing alert for when new listings hit the market from our office, and then reach out to the agents. Then I've had multiple agents text me, hey, I see you've got a new listing. It doesn't have an open house schedule. Would you allow me to do an open house? And you can do that for anybody that's in our office. Through the MLS. Yeah, so on the MLS, you can go in there and you can set up a listing alert, and you can do it by office, and then it will just email you. You can even select the time of day that you want it sent to you, so that you can kind of watch that. I can show you that a little bit after. Yeah. All right. So best practices. Okay, so it really likes us to talk about setting goals, which not a great goal setter. So, and this is a lot different than, honestly, what I ever did with open houses, because I was just like, my goal was to, when I first started doing open houses, my goal was to just honestly survive the first couple open houses, because I just really wanted to get my feet wet, and I'm one that likes, like I said, I love to be on a team, which is why I'm on a team. So I like having somebody else there with me. So my goal was really just to survive my first couple open houses. But I had done a little bit of research, and I had Googled a couple of other agents. I just kind of Googled open houses, and I just got some ideas. I actually came across an agent in California, and his open houses are massive parties. I mean, that's all he runs his business off of. And he's doing millions and millions of revenue from open houses. That's all he does to generate his leads. But these are massive parties. Okay, so he'll have food trucks, and he'll have alcohol, which applies there a little more than it does here. Um, so but his like he just makes it this huge party. They put a lot of effort into circle prospecting and inviting everybody, sending out invitations, things like that to these open houses. Let's see. I don't really know which slide we're on.
He must have generated some serious income before.
Yeah, well, probably not. He probably didn't. But like I said, you can start out with doing open houses for nothing, right? Very inexpensive to start generating that. Yes. So circle prospecting is like when you make phone calls because you've got a listing that's coming new to the area, and then you make another phone call when it's under contract, and then you make another phone call when it's sold to the area around the listing. So you can also do it with door knocking. Circle prospecting, you just can tend to get more homes, you know, because you're not out driving around. But yeah, so that's circle prospecting. Let's see. You're welcome.
It's when you're having an open house and then when it's under contract. It's sold.
Yep.
Okay, and that's
Yeah.
for the neighborhood.
Yep. Yep. For the neighborhood and the area around there. Yes, for sure. You do. Yep. Yep. And so you can even reach out beforehand, like, and call the neighborhood, right? So have to put the disclaimer out there. You cannot call the do not call list. You need to make sure that your numbers have been scrubbed and that kind of stuff. So you're not contacting those that have been asked to not call. But Real Advantage Title can help you get phone numbers of the area around the neighborhood, and you can reach out and invite them to the open house prior to the open house. Yep. Yep. All right. So setting a goal and having a clear plan in place is something that will really help your open house be more successful. You want to know and even down to the little details, the times that you're having it, what you've done to generate the traffic that you want. Drive around the neighborhood, get a feel for what's in the area, and all of that is going to help you help your open house be more successful. Okay, so basically, you just want to have a clear plan of, I guess that goes back to your goals. Like, what is it that you want to accomplish with the open house? Sell and get the leads. But then how are you going to take the steps? What steps are you going to take to make that happen? And make sure you write those down so that you feel like you've done that, because that's going to help your mindset for the future open houses. Okay. So think about your market numbers. This is talking about picking the house. So this is where I was like, I don't know that I necessarily like. In the beginning, was not specific on any property. If I saw an open house opportunity, I just tried to grab hold of it. It did not matter because I felt like I could learn about the property and figure that out. I didn't need to be necessarily specific on the property I was going to do open house on. Does that make sense? I was kind of opposite. You probably will get to a point where you are more like, oh, I don't really want to do an open house. This really isn't my niche of house that I want to hold the open house on.
That's too far away.
Yep, exactly. Yep, exactly. You can be more selective. When in the beginning, I want any open house that I can do. And I had some scary ones. There were some scary open houses. Yeah. So I have a really good friend. Her name is Adrienne Donner. She's also on the Red Sign team. Me and her met at our previous team. So we were on the team together, and she had 2 listings in Salt Lake, and they were owned by investors. It was a husband and wife, and they just owned 2 properties on the street. They wanted to sell them, and then they were going to buy something back east or something like that. And the one house, they were rentals, right? The one house was just immaculate. It was beautiful. And it was kind of a scary part of Salt Lake. Like, let's see, I'm trying to think. We were just off of State Street to the east a little bit, but not too far, but really quite downtown. Like we were not too far. And I was like, I want this one because this one we were told that they had a snake. And I was like, oh no, I'm not. I'm not a snake. Yeah, a snake. And I don't do snakes. I don't do snakes. And so, but the renter wouldn't leave. So she sat in that open house and I sat in this open house. And I actually took my husband with me. There are times that I just have this gut instinct that I need to take him with me. He has his license as well, so he can come and talk real estate. But this house was just this, the renter sat on the couch and played video games during the whole open house with mounds of laundry. And we walked through it and we were just like, oh, and it smelled between something dead and pot, like something fierce. And we did find out that the snake had died, they thought, but hadn't found it yet. And so we were just like, oh my gosh. So yeah, so that was the, I know, yes, please don't see. Yes, yes. So that was one that was like, oh my goodness. I don't know. I'm not sure. They got right. They got a wicked deal. They had a hard time getting the renter out even after the property went under contract and through that process. It was a tough deal, but yeah. So there's one. I had that was probably the worst one, and it wasn't my listing, so I was like, I'm sorry, Adrian. Good luck. I got the best end of the deal, but I was not going in the house with the snake, dead or alive. So let's see. It says, as you prepare for the open house, you should get to know like shopping centers, grocery stores, architecture, coffee shops. Let's see. So just remember that you do get to choose which houses you want to do. And if it's not one that, if it's not in the clientele, the price range that you want to work with, that's okay. It's okay to not have an open house or take the open house. Let's see. All right. So I do, like I said, I do try and do a open house for every single one of my sellers if the house is in a location that makes sense. So I listed a couple of properties in East Carbon. Does anybody know where that is? It is, yes, it's like 27 miles past Price. There is nothing but tumbleweeds. And I'm not kidding, right? It is so far out there. There are no gas stations once you pass Price. There's a city hall, but it's very interesting. There's a there's a bike race out there, like a mountain bike track. And my nephew is on like the high school team. And so I was like, oh, I got to see where you were racing, but I mean, it is nowhere. It's out in the middle of nowhere. So I had a house out there and this cute little lady, she lives in Colorado and her husband had passed away and he had left her multiple properties in different states. And so she was really working through trying to sell all of these properties. And this was her last property. She had one in like Indiana and Tennessee, and then this property. And we went walking through it, and she found this vacuum that they were given at their wedding, and she was like, "Why would my husband hold on to this?" Like this house was basically like a storage unit. She's like, "This is just all of his crap that's just been stored out here." She had two properties in East Carbon. They were down the street. One of them had a house on it. The other one had a shed on it. And in the shed, she found a boat and a truck. She's like, so that was one of the ones that I was like, look, let me just find you a junk removal company. You guys can come and get what you feel is of value. And then the junk removal company went out there and just took everything off the premises for them. So it was made it really nice. And then we hired a cleaner to go deep clean the house because nobody had lived in it for so long. But I'm not going to have an open house on a property out in East Carbon. I'm just not. It's not good. That's not what's going to sell that house. What's going to sell that house is the internet. That's what's going to sell that house. So instead of wasting my time or putting the time into something like that, I would rather just push it everywhere I can on the internet, right? And to other agents, because other agents are who's going to help sell that property. Again, I had another one in Monroe, not quite as remote as East Carbon, but I told the seller when I met with her, she was selling it for her brother who had passed away. And it was just, the house was just nasty. And she went in, her and her siblings took all of the things that were of value to them. We had a junk place go and clean it out, had somebody go down and clean it. It was a great, cute little house, needed some work, but it was pretty cute. And I told her, I said, I'm more than happy to come and host an open house, but I don't feel like that's what's going to sell this property. Yep. Yep. And looking in Monroe, nobody was hosting open houses. And so we skipped that and got it sold elsewhere. So definitely do your research. Look at the market when you're listing a home. See what's happening. See how many days it sits on market. See what the traffic is, that kind of stuff. Even if you don't get the information, call the agents in the area. I have a great relationship with an agent that's down there, and I'm happy to call and ask him any question that's going on down there in the Richfield area. I do quite a bit down there, but I'm not down there. So ask questions. Let's see. So if I was going to be picking the house, right? What is my perfect open house? What does that look like for me? For me, it is anywhere Springville and south. Probably I would go to Nephi, but I would prefer Springville to Santaquin. And I don't care the price. The price wouldn't matter to me. I probably wouldn't do like a trailer, like I don't want to say manufacturer, a mobile. I probably wouldn't do an open house on a mobile home, but anything else, I don't care. I was born and raised in Spanish Fork. I know the area like the back of my hand. I've watched it grow. I know a ton of people down there. I know the mayor. It's just my niche. I just love that area. So why wouldn't that be my choice? Right? So if you're picking a house if you're going to be picking, then pick areas like that. So I also don't want to limit myself to that because I do want people to know that I work outside of Spanish Fork area, right? So then I would look at different neighborhoods and things that I know or will be easier for me to research that I have time to put into. And that's how I would choose the properties I want to host open house on. Let's see. All right, so prepare and practice. So it says, consider inviting a speaker such as an inspector or a lender. So I never thought that the reason to invite one of them was to, I mean, obviously they're going to have conversations with the buyers that come through, but I didn't ever look at it like this from this perspective, to be honest. Like I wouldn't invite a speaker probably to an open house, but I have definitely partnered with a lender. I've never partnered with an inspector, so that was a new one. But a lender, there's several lenders out there that are always going to be willing to sit into an open house with you, and they'll also help. Like if you want to do treats or things like that, they're usually willing to contribute like that. They're usually willing to help you prospect beforehand, door knock, that kind of stuff, so it gets more exposure. And then you're also putting that out to their SOI as well. So just more eyes on the property. So, and if you don't want to do the open house alone, this is a great avenue to take so that you can still capture the leads, but you're not competing for them with another agent. Okay. Yeah. 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 Yep. Definitely. Yeah, there's definitely. So everybody does things a little bit different, right? Like the guy in California, he didn't care. He had food trucks and alcohol and whatever. There's a lady in our office. Is it Cindy? Cindy Yates. She makes cookies shaped as keys for every open house. Yep. Yeah. Homemade cookies. Yes. Her open houses are pretty cool. I don't do that. I like to do packaged candy or packaged like yeah. I did do popcorn one time in the little teeny bags like this. And the reason why I chose that is it really wasn't too messy. And I could use it for, like, I bought a huge amount of that and I could use it for the next ones because it's hard to determine how many people are coming. So I could carry that on and it wasn't as expensive. Yeah. And then I usually do a little bottle of water that's there. Yep. Mints, things like that are always fun to have, even if you just have them sitting throughout the house. Um, let's see. So it says before you host an open house, prepare a list of questions you may be asked and practice your conversation starters. Okay. Some questions you might face will test your knowledge of the house and your market. They may ask why the house is for sale, when the home was last renovated, if the home has any structural issues, and how long the house has been on the market. So, what I have found in doing open houses is the major systems, if you have a serious buyer, the major systems are going to be asked about. That's going to be your HVAC, your roof, your water heater. What else? Those are probably your three main, your big ones that they're going to ask about. Roof, for some reason, is just one that's always asked about. When was the roof replaced? It is really expensive. And the HVAC system is big too. So water heater, kind of hit and miss, but those are the ones that usually people ask. It depends on the age of the home. Yeah, if it's an older home where it would have been like, if you're getting these early 1900 homes, like you get up in Salt Lake, those homes that we did, we were asked the moment people walked in, does this still have a knob and tube or has electrical been redone? So yeah, some people will ask if it's copper or PEX for the plumbing. So it's good to know. It's good to know your house a little bit. So,
What do you call those? Major,
yeah, your major points in the house, like your major systems. Yeah, roof, water heater, your HVAC system. Yeah, I would just make sure that you've asked if the listing agent, hey, when was the roof? Do you know when the roof was replaced? Do you know when the water heater, how new the water heater is? Sometimes you can just go and look. It will say right on the water heater when it was put in. So yeah, I would just make sure you have a great conversation with your listing agent. Yep, for sure. What other questions do you think might come from clients as they walk into your open house? Schools, okay. Yep, that could be a good one. Yep. Yep. How old's the carpet? Any pets? Yep. Sure. Yep. I have had that a lot, especially now because our median home price is so high. We're selling lots of townhomes. That is a big one. Yep. Right now.
like, how long does it take to get to the freeway from here, depending on where it's at?
Yep. For sure. For sure. Square footage and acreage is always something that's asked usually. Especially if
Is it
they're
also stuff you can find on the MLS?
yes.
Okay.
Yep. So when you are looking at the MLS, you can print off that agent report. I always have one of those in my hand, always.
You have extra to give out?
I'll tell you what we like to do.
A lot of times people ask
Yeah, that is true. Yep, that is true. Internet is a huge one, actually. Do they have fiber? Yes, that is one that's asked all the time, is if fiber is available in the area. So, yep, that is true. Um, okay, so I love to take a lender with me if I can find one. I have one that loves to do, like, he'll do open house and hot chocolate, and so that's how we end up advertising the open house, is open house and hot chocolate. So he comes and brings the hot chocolate, and it makes it really nice because if a buyer is in the first stages, it really helps to convert them and talk to them about that process. And then it's two of you that are helping move that along. And then they just feel like, oh my gosh, these strangers just made this so much easier for me. Why wouldn't I want to work with them? So it's always nice to have that extra knowledge there so that they can move that process along for them. So I like having a lender. Yeah.
You're doing something like hot chocolate or like Italian sodas or something.
Yeah.
That takes a little time to prepare. Is
Mhm.
that a good thing to kind of delay them so you're like chatting with them while you make their drink?
So I would definitely just have it like we just kind of had it spaced out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, kind of more like a hot chocolate bar where they could get their own type. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Unless I brought other people in with me so that I could continue having the conversation. But I've never had to have I've never done an open house quite where I've brought others in and said, like, I'd probably take my girls, to be honest with you. My girls are 13 and 11. And so I would probably bring them in and have them run that part of it. Yep, because I want to make the connection with people. That's just like the sprinkle on the top, right? Having the hot chocolate there. So, yep. Okay, so it says in here, it says the best practice during an open house would be to have the visitor sign in upon arrival at the event. Some agents even make this a requirement, stating it is a safety measure. You can even ask them to leave something of value with you while they tour the home, like their car keys or driver's license. I've never done that. I read this and I was like, that is weird. Like, I would never ask them to leave something. However, I do ask them to sign in. And I have very mixed feelings about it. It kind of goes with my mood, my mindset, my confidence for the day of how I'm going to ask for those sign ins. Which is why it's so important that your mindset is in the open house and accomplishing the goals that you've set. Because if I'm not having a good day, then I'm just like, let's just scan my QR code. It's fine. Like, ask me your questions. Like, right? They totally know that I'm just there to let them walk through. I'm just more like a security person at that point, right? Making sure nothing walks out of the house that's not supposed to. Exactly. Yeah. So they know that. They can feel that. But I have had open houses that I have felt that way. So that is my bad. But yeah, you definitely want to just find a way to where you can capture those leads. Otherwise, what's the point, right? Now, if they have an agent, I usually just say, hey, will you just put your name and phone number on there for me? The agent, not the client. Okay, I have the agent sign in, and then I usually have a little box that says agent. Or when they do the scan this QR code, it should say, do you have an agent? And then they're like, usually, yes, I am the agent or whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna go into that in just a little bit here. Let's see. So a couple of other ways that you can really get people to sign in is because I don't love a safety thing. Like it is. And during COVID, that was fantastic because we were just like, look, we need you to sign in because with COVID, if something happens, we need to be able to get a hold of you. They don't remember that come Monday when we're calling them to follow up. They don't care. But now it's more like I'll say, hey, the agent has just asked that we sign in. If anything comes up missing, we'd really like to be able to get a hold of anybody. I'm not the listing agent. I'm helping the agent out. And so it helps us out if we have your name and phone number, just in case we need to get a hold of anybody that walks through the property, something along those lines.
Are you responsible if something goes missing while you're doing your house?
So,
Because you're not following every person that comes through around.
right. No, I really don't feel like you should be responsible for it. No, I haven't. I, as the listing agent, I have had other people host my open houses. In fact, I do almost on all of my listings. I let someone else do that. And I usually only try and like do open houses that I'm not the listing agent because I don't of that limited agency, right? So when I'm on the listing side, I have a very real upfront conversation with my sellers. Please, anything of value, make sure it is not in sight. It is out of sight, out of mind, and not conveniently in a drawer. Don't put it in your bathroom drawer. Hide it in the cupboard back behind the towels, or put it in a safe. Hide it somewhere where people aren't going to look. A lot of people like to open the drawers and look in there, so don't hide it in there.
See if it's soft clothes, or
Yep.
They wanna see, right?
Yeah,
do
they
wanna
want to
try
see.
figure out
Yeah.
what they're buying,
Yep.
But
Yep.
you don't want them to see your grandmother's
Exactly.
diamond necklace.
Yep. So put it in a safe. And jewelry, guns, any type of weapon, I guess, bullets, things like that. And also, one of the number one things that walk out of houses are prescription drugs. So, yeah, you want those hidden. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would just feel so
Prescription.
responsible if somebody did that while I was doing open house, like,
Well,
and not because I'm taking it, just because like I was there.
yeah. But I mean, I don't know how you would stop that. As being in an open house, I don't know how you would make sure. You don't know what they're doing. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. But prescription drugs is the one thing. Well, we had I remember one lady, 2 separate weekends, the same lady, and we were just like, oh, she's totally looking for medication. Like that's what her whole prerogative of looking at homes was for prescription drugs. Uh-huh. Yeah, drugs would come up missing. Yeah. So I was doing it. I was doing an open house with somebody. I wish I could remember who it was. It was another agent, but they actually followed her around, and she went right into the master bathroom and opened up all of the drawers. It already kind of tipped off on her, and I hadn't seen her at a previous open house. She was a little off. We could tell. Probably, yep, she was probably already on something. And so, yeah, it was, we definitely knew what she was doing. There was no question about it. So, I have a medical background, and so I've definitely had others come in that I have been more cautious of watching than others. So, it really depends on the vibe that I get with the person that's just come through the door. Yep.
Somebody walks in, you're like upstairs.
Yep. Yeah. So when that happens, then I usually am just like, oh, hold on just a second. I think there's somebody else. I go down and I definitely greet that next person as well. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah. So definitely, yeah, I just kind of go off the vibe of the person that's in the open house. Let's see. Another thing that I like to say to get people to sign in, I really feel like the hardest part of an open house is getting people to actually sign your paper. I really do feel like that's the hardest part.
Because they just feel like, no thanks.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And then they just walk around the house. And I'm just like, okay. Like, and I kind of read the person.
Because they're not interested in getting their name, they're not actually interested in buying a house.
Correct. I feel like, but you have to read the person.
Be good for this.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of times, oops, I have another sign that I actually tape on the front door that says, please come on in. And then if they want like shoe covers or they want their shoes removed, I also have a sign that says that as well on the front door. Okay. And then if I've done this like lots of different ways. Right as they walk in, sometimes I'll have a little table and I'll put this there, right? And we have so my marketing manager, my marketing lady, will have another, I don't have it, dang it. It's kind of like this. It looks a little bit like this, but the QR code is a lot bigger. So when they scan it, it just brings up the information of this house that they're walking in, which is what this is. This QR code has them sign in, and it actually just takes their information and drops it right into my Brivity account, so that I already have their email, their phone number, their first and their last name, and then I can follow up with them next week. And then I also, or whenever, right? And then I also has some defaults set that after so many hours after them signing in, it sends them a text message from me. Thank you so much for coming to my open house. Please let me know if you have any questions or something like that. And then if they put in an email, it sends them emails like follow-up stuff. So it's already starting those drip campaigns on the open house people, and they're specific to open house. So I
And you
know,
create, or your team.
yes. So I know that Command has that capability. I don't know if it has a QR code capability so that if they scan the QR code, fill it out, it drops in there. But to have to fill it out and you get them in your system, it will automatically start that stuff if you have it set up right. So I'm on a team, and my team we don't use Command because I honestly don't know why we don't use Command. I think it's because we're large enough that Command doesn't have the capabilities to host a large team. So we use what's called Brivity. But Command has these capabilities as well. Yeah. So yes, Hunter can help with that. And you guys will have many classes through like Command. They'll do tech classes and stuff. So make sure you're following the classes, because they'll show you all of those capabilities. So let's see. Where are we at? Let's see. Oh, so I also like to,
So you do have a flyer.
yeah.
They can take and carry around with them?
Yeah, they can carry this around. This isn't my favorite flyer for them to carry around.
You want to just
So-
give them information about square feet, how many bedrooms, how many baths, that kind of thing?
Kind of. Yeah. Sometimes when you're on a team, you're just kind of limited. I love being on a team, but sometimes I want to make changes, which I could if I just put the effort into it, but I just haven't. So I just use what she provides us. And sometimes I would just do it a little bit different. Sometimes I like to make them property specific. Like I know this is property specific, but depending on what it is that I'm listing, like if I'm listing a condo, then I want to list everything out that the HOA is providing. Like I want that on the flyer, because that's going to be like the top questions that you're going to get asked, right?
So it's nice for them to like have it with them. They're like,
Yeah.
wait, I've seen 2 bathrooms. Is there another one?
Yeah.
You know, or
Yeah.
all those little things. Or they're looking at the yard. How many square feet is this?
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
it's-
Yeah. So sometimes I'll print out on the MLS, you can print out the agent list, and that's going to give you like all the nitty gritty details, right? But they also have like a client sheet that you can print out. And a lot of times I'll print that out and hand that out at the open house. It doesn't have the agent remarks on it, right? Because sometimes those agent remarks are, you shouldn't share them. Yeah, those are specific for agents. So buyers shouldn't see those comments. And so you want to make sure that those aren't on the flyers that you're handing out.
And you don't want it to say how many days it's on market.
Yeah, no, it can. Yep.
The MLS, you're on the MLS, you get this information for your house. I can't remember what it is. Click on something and it says client.
Yeah, client report. Yep. Yep, exactly. That's right. Yeah, that's what I would use. Yep. Let's see. All right, so then okay, so prepare and practice. I've never sat down and prepared scripts of what I'm going to use at an open house. Have you guys done the KPA? Have you guys taken the KPA or talked anything about like disc and the driver, all of those? Okay, so in our house, my husband works for a company that lives by the color code. He's in service and sells. And so his company is just, that's the first thing they do when you walk through the door for an interview. You take the color code test. And so in our house, we discuss that a lot. And it has been super helpful for me in communicating and connecting with people. So I don't necessarily sit down and practice my scripts, but I know that color code pretty good. When somebody walks through the door, just by the first few words that they say, I know if they are red, yellow, blue, or white. And I can match what they're, I try to match, yes, what they're wanting. Yeah. So because I feel like everybody's different. Everybody's there for a different reason. And then of course my mood affects it as well. So yeah. So usually I'm usually standing there. Usually they're walking in. I'm like, hey, welcome. What brings you in today? What questions can I answer? We ask that you sign in. We promise all of our sellers that if a buyer walks through the door, we're going to follow up with them because that's the service that we provide. So if you could please sign this form, that would be super helpful for us. Let me know if you have any questions. There's a flyer on the kitchen table. Something along those lines. Yeah.
And I've been looking at houses or
Right? So there's a secret. Follow up. It is a big deal. Yes. Yeah, I know. Yep. Very interesting. All right. Pick the time and the theme. This is my favorite part. The theme. This guy in California did alcohol and food trucks, right? That's awesome. How many of you would like to show up at an open house that's got alcohol and food trucks? I'd go for, I'm not a drinker, but food trucks? Heck yeah, on them. I'm gonna go. Thursday night happy hour, wine and cheese open house, mimosas. That's been one that I've heard. Sunday afternoon, you want to make sure that you're aware of what's going on. I don't think that you want to host an open house in the middle of the Super Bowl. Probably not.
Nobody does them on Sundays.
That is true.
Like Sundays is
Yep.
the day, but in Utah nobody does.
Nope.
Is it just because nobody looks on Sundays?
It is a very slow place in Utah on Sundays. It's because, yep, the religious influence.
Like looking at houses seems like, oh, like we
Well,
walk around the neighborhood
it's
and
shopping. Shopping. I mean, it is a stigma, but yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I am like, so,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't have any, like, that seems like a natural thing
Yeah.
to do to me, but nobody does.
So nobody does open houses. It's very, it's very rare to find open houses. You will find them in like St. George, Park City, more than you will in Utah County. Open houses in Salt Lake as well, but yeah, they are few and far between on Sundays for sure.
Because if they're not gonna be an effective time to do it, then there's no, like, if you're not gonna get people in, then that's
Yeah.
not a good time.
Yep. And I haven't ever done an open house on a Sunday, so I wouldn't know. If my seller was like, hey, Sunday's the best time for me to do it, then I would be like, okay, I would do it because I don't have anything. But if no one's gonna come, yep. And I would definitely take into consideration the location, where we're at. If we're in the heart of Salt Lake, I probably would do it on a Sunday. I think that it would probably I think you could generate that, the traction, but you would have to put some effort into it. So.
Somebody else to show the house for someone. Like that, how to pay.
On a Sunday, can you pay someone to sorry, say it one more time.
Like open house or showing where an agent paid you to show a house first.
Yeah. Yeah, like if I'm out of town or something and I've got a buyer that wants to see a property, I've dropped in that opportunities in the WhatsApp. I'll say, hey, I have somebody that wants to see a home in Santa Quinn this Saturday at this time. Who's available? Paying. Yeah, I've done that before. Yep. So, yep, you can. I do. Yes, it's different. Yes. showing an open house. If somebody's going to host an open house for me, I don't pay them because they're getting those leads. So I don't pay them to do an open house, just to show a property. Yeah. Yep. And if the buyer wants to see a house that has an open house, then I just say, hey, they have an open house during this time and this time. Can you go see it then? If I can't be there for some reason. Yep. Okay. So be aware of what's going on, and the times and the culture. Yep. Very important. Yep, for sure. Know your market, prepare your stats. We've kind of talked about that already. And then safety. This is huge. Okay. Use the buddy system, arrive early. Now, I'm arrive early, yes, but you should also already be very familiar with the neighborhood, right? I mean, I would hope that you've put the effort into doing your research on the property so that you are aware of what's around you, what the neighbors are like. I mean, kind of, right? You've just, when you're driving around and you're door knocking, pay attention to what's going on around you. Park on the street. That way, if you park on the street and you have to get out, somebody's not blocked you in the driveway. Okay. Even sometimes parking a little bit down the street or in front of a different house isn't a bad idea either. Correct. Yep. 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 When I walk through the house, I always make sure that I know where the exits are. I make sure that like the doors that I'm gonna take are unlocked. Gosh, sorry. And I kind of plan an escape route per se and just make sure that it's a good clear exit. Yep. Yep. You can't. Yeah, it's really hard for sure. Yep. So make sure that you're aware of everywhere. And if you don't want them to go out the back door for some reason, put a sign on it that says, please don't exit through this way, you know? Nope.
And that could be because the dog's in the back.
Exactly. Yeah, yep, definitely. Make sure that you have a fully charged cell phone, or you have your charger with you. We're constantly on our phones. Mine's constantly dying. So make sure that you have a source to charge it. You want to have all the lights on. Local COVID guidelines doesn't apply too much now. And then follow your market center guidelines and checklists for open houses. So there are lots and lots of things that you can do to make sure that you're safe for sure. Kevin.
Say, house, house.
Yeah, I've done a lot of that because that was a lot of COVID. So when it was vacant, yes, a lot. Yeah, I've done a lot of those. Yep.
You bring a chair.
Yeah. Yes. I always make sure I have a chair. I can't tell you. Yes. Yes. Standing. Yes. So I always make sure I bring a chair. I try to make everything look as professional as possible. And welcoming, but I do bring in a chair.
Or even if it's not.
Depends on what you mean by clean. If I go down and see stuff in the toilet I don't want to see, I'm probably going to clean it. But yes. Yep.
Like those piles of clothes.
Nope. No. Personal property I don't touch. Uh-huh. Yeah, cookies are totally fine. But I tend to be a little more selective in what I'm serving. Unless it's on the way out. Like if it's crummy like that, I probably wouldn't let them walk through the house and eat the cookies, but I would give them a treat on the way out the door. I try to create a flow. So as people are coming in, they circle around and then out. And sometimes you just can't. Sometimes it's impossible just with the layout of the houses. But if you can create,
Like whatever.
if they
Stuff on their cupboard, like if they have every single appliance on the cupboard, you wouldn't tuck it under.
I wouldn't take that upon myself to
Okay.
do that. Yeah. I would hope that the listing agent has talked to him about it, but I probably wouldn't. Yeah.
Like, this might be a question like, specifically for me, but dress code, because I kind of dress like casual, sneakers or whatever, but I also could dress, like business casual. What would
Yeah.
you give me an opinion?
I do have an opinion on this. So,
I just want to be open to everything.
absolutely. Okay. So, and my opinion has shifted over the last couple of years with this. When I got into real estate, I was like professional, 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 constantly, right? I was constantly dressing up. Now, I came from a background, I was 17 years in a clinic. I wore pajamas every day, right? So I'm shifting to business clothes and I'm like, this is for the birds. Like, I don't like wearing heels and I don't like getting dressed up, but I felt like that real estate had this stigma where you had to be um dressed like that. And then I started watching these reels and there was one reel and I actually recreated it because it was so funny to me. But I was in a like business attire and I'm walking out my front door and it says meeting a seller for a first time or something like that, right? And then it says, or meeting my buyer for the first time. And then it says 15 showings later. And I was in like a pair of cut off jeans and a t shirt in my flip flops running out the front door. And then I was like, it was inspection day. And I had on like a hard hat and my tape measure and I'm running out the door. So I feel like, and then of course, I always get dressed nice again on closing day. And why? I don't know. It's who I am, right? It's who I am. So, what I decided when I made that video, I was like, you know what? You're right. You just need to be you. Do I think that professionalism is important? 100%. I absolutely do. But my client isn't going to see me in dress clothes all of the time. They're just not. Today, this is not what I got up and put on. I had on some dress slacks. I got out to my car. I had my bagel right there on the inside of my leg. And I was like, huh, well, that's not going to work. So I had to run back in and put on some jeans because my dress pants were smeared in cream cheese. So,
That's right now.
yep,
But there's also like the audiences that I want to dress.
yep,
I think it'll be like my own little how I help.
yep. Yeah, and that's just it, is you're going to attract the buyers probably that you want to work with, or you're going to, not buyers, the clients that you're going to connect with, and that's probably going to be the best thing for your business, right? So I still kind of go back and forth on what I should wear and what I shouldn't wear, um but yeah, I still like professionalism, I think should be there, but you also have to be you and do you. So
I just wanted to say, when I was at Fashion Place Mall, the day I like asked, which was a couple weeks ago, went there to get something, and I noticed in the middle of the hall, in between like these certain expensive shops, there was this giant poster, and it was a real estate agent, and he said his name, and he was like sitting on a bench wearing like jeans and a nice like t-shirt, and it said like top agent in Salt Lake City, and I took a picture because I'm like, this guy is really authentic and he's being true to himself. So I think whatever it is that is your style, I mean, you can be clean, and have jeans
Yep.
like this guy, and I'm like, and he's wearing like Nikes,
yes,
like really nice Jordans. I'm like, okay, this guy is being true to himself. So I guess just whatever is your thing.
But you do have stigmas you have to overcome.
Yeah.
you do.
Like if you're young, you have to show that you are a professional. Like
Yep.
there's still something about professionalism. Like you said, clean,
Yeah.
nice haircut. Like if
Yeah.
you're just gonna be like sloppy,
Yep.
it comes across that you're sloppy as a professional.
Yep.
You're not gonna get hired, even though your friends might still hire you, you're not gonna get clientele. You know,
Yep.
you wanna still present yourself. I think the
Exactly.
key there is to be a professional.
Yep. Yep. And I would wear this to open house. I would probably have preferred my slacks, but I would still wear this to an open house. I it wouldn't even phase me. I would do it. Last week during team meeting, or no, it wasn't team meeting, it was more club. I can't remember which meeting I was in, but I was wearing like a pair of, I don't even know what they're called. What are like they're not spandex, but they're just like, yeah, like a pair of tight, like, not like sweatpants, but leggings and a sweatshirt. And I felt a little uncomfortable in that meeting that I was in. I was like, oh my gosh, I probably should have dressed up a little more for those. So yeah, you definitely want to know your audience, but be authentic to yourself for sure. Yep. So another thing on safety, I know this has changed, but right after I got my real estate license, right before I got my real estate license, I did I got my concealed weapons permit because I just want to be safe. So I still don't have a weapon, but I carry this thing everywhere I go. So please make sure that you are being safe. Whatever it is that you need to do to make yourself feel safe, there's no reason to not feel safe. With my first brokerage, the broker shared a story with one of his agents that he one time got a phone call from, and she had been kidnapped and thrown in the back of a seat, and it was terrifying. So just yeah, yeah, yep,
We just are really good friends, and this was a year ago or 2 years ago. She's like, I really want to do my concealed carry, and I did it with her, and I was just a mom, and we did it together. And she told me some crazy stories as a real estate agent. She's like, I've had so many really scary situations. I just want to have my concealed carry. So we did it together, and her husband too is a principal, and he wants to keep one in the safe at school.
yep.
And
You have to
really
have that. Yep. Yeah. I haven't actually, well, and now concealed weapons different, right? You don't really have to have that. It's a little bit different. But I don't know. I don't ever like not feeling safe. I got this listing one time. It was a lead through my team, and just talking to this guy on the phone, I was just so uneasy about it. I mean, I just did not, I could not, there was just something with him that was really bothering me. And so I just told my husband, I was like, I'm going to need you to come on this appointment with me because I just can't go to this one alone. And it's a good thing he did. Like, the guy was a weirdo, like big weirdo. I listed his house, but he ended up, I wasn't the only agent that had listed his, like, it was a huge mess. He listed it with like 6 or 7 agents after me, and I'm not sure that the property ever even sold, but he was just making his way around, and he was just a weird guy. So follow your gut instincts and just make sure that you can keep yourself safe, whatever it may be, right? However you feel you can do that. Yeah. Yes. Yep. If they can't, they can't like speak with the clients, but yes, like I said, that I would, like, if I was to have somebody come and help, if I was going to do like a hot chocolate bar or Italian sodas, like, I would totally have my kids come and help me with that, but they just can't speak real estate of any kind. Yep. Yep. Let's see. Okay, prepare, prospect, and pursue. Okay, the difference between big and really big is how you manage your time and focus. This is in open houses. This is with everything, right? Yeah. Okay, I should read this 100 times over because it applies to me. Let's see. I have no idea where we're at in this thing. Let's see if I can find. Okay, so to prepare for an open house, I have no idea what slide this is, so I'm just probably just it right here. Okay, so after you've done the hard work of picking the house, you guys, I'm sorry, my phone is just going crazy. Know the next steps will involve maximizing potential client traffic at your open house. So posting online, you want to make sure that you share that with the, like have the listing agent and the sellers share it on their social media platforms. This is where circle prospecting comes into play. If you need help getting like circle prospecting, you can go to a title company and they can help you create a section around that open house that is the best to door knock or call. I personally hate cold calling. Hate it. I don't, some people love it. I don't love it. I would so much rather knock on the door, and I hate door knocking, but I'd so much rather knock on a door and be face to face with somebody than over the phone any day. So, I and then I don't go to title to help me get that. I just print off. So if somebody wants to do my open house, I really do like to say, okay, perfect. I like 100 flyers delivered in the neighborhood of the open house. And if they can't do it, if the agent that's going to host the open house can't do it, then I go and do it. And then, but I really push for them because they're the face that's going to be there, right? It just makes more sense. And then the following up afterwards, I will be honest, I've done it with the people that have signed in, but I've never gone back around and door knocked after a house has sold. But there is a gal on her team who has done it twice and got listings both times for doing that. So it does pay off. I've just never done that. Yep. Because if you are, I mean, right now, most of the time, I mean, we're not having tons of offers on like during COVID, like there was one couple I wrote 27 offers for and they'd never got a house. And so, I mean, there were houses that were getting 27, 35, 40 offers on. And so you have all these leftover buyers. We are still in a market where it's still competitive, that we usually do have leftover buyers from a sale of a property. So when you're going back around door knocking, hey, that I don't know if you know, but so and so, the Larsons sold their house and we have leftover buyers. Have you thought about making a move? Right? So that's something that could generate leads and business.
For like, because I know it does take a lot of work to walk around and deliver.
It does.
Is this something you could just pay your teenager to do on their e-bike and they just like buzz through the neighborhood and just leave the flyer on the door?
So I mean, that's a whole can of worms, right? Because can you? Absolutely. You absolutely can. Does it give you that interaction with them? Nope. So if you really want to maximize the potential, you should door knock it. Time is an issue though, right? So I've done both. And the open houses that I've knocked and made a face with somebody, I've had a better turnout, but I still get people, oh, this was left on my door. So I just have a better turnout when I've made a connection with them and invited them. So yes, it can happen. Is it better than nothing? Yep. Especially when you're short on time. So in fact, I did an open house in Salem, which is it's a great community. We did that. It was like kind of my neighborhood. I didn't live too far. So we just went on a night walk and those were the only ones that came. I didn't door knock, but the ones that I handed out the flyers to were the ones that came to the open house. So it still works. So, let's see. All right, so prospect, there's lots of different ways to prospect. Of course, when they're walking through the door, the circle prospecting, the calling, and then following up with them after they've left the open house. What do you think is when do you think you should follow up with them after an open house? Let's say you have an open house on a Thursday night from 6 to 8. When should you follow up with those people that signed in? Okay. Okay. How about Saturday morning, 11 to 2 was your open house. Now, when should you follow up with them? Okay.
Depends on the person. They're like the others, you said, if they're really open and stuff, you could message them back soon. But if they're like a shyer type of
Yep.
person, you could get them to say.
For sure. Yep. Sometimes you can do same day, and I have done same day before. In fact, I've done an open house, contacted them, and then done a showing that night with them. So,
They're already looking at it.
no, a different property. So, yep. Sometimes when you catch them in the moment of looking and you're willing and ready and able to help them, you can snag them. Okay.
If it's a Saturday, sometimes that's the only day they have off. Like,
Correct.
as a family or as a family. So yeah, I would think that would be as soon as possible, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And sometimes it's good to ask them. You know, if you're involved in a conversation with them at the open house, ask them when it would be okay for you to reach out and contact and connect with them again. Like if you're that involved in a conversation, then it's not going to be a weird question to ask. Hi, welcome.
Have you ever done an open house that has cameras?
Yeah.
And do you handle that differently or the same?
It's, I guess I haven't ever handled it differently. So,
Just my parents, like, they have cameras all over their house.
yeah. So, I guess from the open house agent's perspective, I would just want to be aware that I'm not engaging in conversation that's
There's
Well-
someone who's looking and they're like, well, this isn't really what I want, but
then I would be like, absolutely, let's look at some other properties. They already said this isn't what we're looking for. I mean, and that's just, I think it would depend on the conversation. I would definitely be aware. Yep, I would probably choose a little differently, maybe. But I would like to think that I wouldn't, that it would just be who I am. But yeah, I'd definitely have it in the back of my head that there were cameras. I wouldn't want to do anything to offend the seller, right? So even though I'm not their agent, yeah, because what if I do get a buyer that's going to write an offer? I don't want to offend the seller because I want them to accept my offer. So for sure. All right, let's see. So most of the work for the open houses is done before the day of the open house. So prepare your mindset, practice conversations. Okay, so somebody was asking about this, right? Conversations, how to prepare. Okay, so I'm still kind of toying with an exact schedule that I love. So select the house on Monday, post online, walk the neighborhood, invite neighborhoods to the showing or to the open house, post online again, install the yard sign. So install the yard sign. This is a yard sign that says open house, right? Get a sign that says that open house this Saturday or whatever, so that they know. And then the day of the open house, change it, open house here or whatever. Post online again and invite the database. This is great because you can be like, I'm hosting this open house. You can send it out to your database through command. And then I would probably do this on Wednesday. I would door knock on Wednesday. I wouldn't wait till Friday to door knock. And if I was going to circle prospect, you're probably going to want to, like phone calls, you're probably going to want to do that on Wednesday as well. It depends on how many you do. When I do an open house, I ask the agent that's hosting my open house for a minimum of 100 flyers. Okay. And if they don't want to do it, they probably won't get to do an open house for me again. But I will go and do it because it's to the it's to the advantage of my seller. Like I want my seller to know that I'm advocating and fighting for them to find a buyer, right? For a buyer to come and purchase their property. So I'm going to make sure that those flyers are delivered. And then I'm gonna hope that I'm gonna actually hope that the agent does it for me. And if I don't have time to go door knock, then my kids will go and we'll run them around. But the flyers are going to be out at least 100, if not more. So, yep, it looks just like this. This is it right here. This is the flyer. Yep, yep. Has the date on it, and I do this. So when I take my kids, I sit in the car and I roll these like this, and then they come and snag them because they can sit between any doorknob, and then they just open up wide enough to where they stick. So that's how I do it. So I always have this, right? It's like, hey, I'm Amy with Keller Williams Westfield. I am doing an open house in your neighborhood, and we just wanted to make sure that you were invited. If you know anybody that's in the market to purchase a home, or if you want to pick your neighbor, invite them and come see the house on Saturday. I give them this, and that's it. And we might have treats. So, yeah, that's sometimes what I'll do.
You said you would actually door knock on Wednesday, you said that?
Yeah. Yeah. If I'm doing 100 doors, if I'm really going to knock 100 doors, I'm going to need the time to do that. Yeah, it's a time thing for me. So if you have a day to just go knock it all out, then you could do Thursday or Friday, but I have to start on Wednesday because I'm limited with my kids' schedule. So yeah, just work it around your schedule for sure. Let's see. We kind of gone over this. Yes.
About the schedule. So you said Tuesday to put up signs that say open house in front of the house. Okay, and you just leave them there for the whole
Yeah.
week?
Yeah.
Okay.
This just says open house this Saturday. And then that Saturday, you just pull them out and put your actual open house arrow sign. Well, I have an open house arrow sign. My team does. So then I just trade it out. And the morning of, I go and I find the two directions into the property. Like if it's comes from two, I'll put an open house sign here, an open house sign here on the main busy road. And then every turn, I put another open house sign. So the arrows are pointing to where they should go. Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to hurt anything. I've done it right in the middle of McDonald's grass before. Just put it right there. So you got to make sure you go back and get them. Yeah. Yeah. That's probably the very worst part about open houses, are putting out your dang signs. So sometimes I'm chucking across the mud, shove it in the ground or in the snow. And sometimes I'll do balloons. Sometimes I won't. The amount of money that I spend on an open house depends on the price of the property.
Stigma.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of depends.
We saw this. I've been kind of watching for these open house signs. There was a really cute one that had, and I don't know if it was Keller Williams, but it had the arrow and it was red, and then it had this like a stake, but it had little like colorful banners on it.
Oh.
So instead of balloons, I'm like, that's brilliant. You just like stake it in the ground, and it has these like colorful banners.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of different ways. Yeah, lots of different things that you can use for sure. Yeah. We at my previous team, we had this massive flag. I mean, it was just huge that we put out. But yeah. A lot of things that determine how much I'm going to do into an open house right now is my time that week. So and cost. Yeah. Yep, it can. And so that's why sometimes buying like bulk and using it for multiple open houses, if I've planned that I'm going to do one open house a month, 3 open houses per month, which is what I did when I started. I was doing 3 open houses a month. I just went to Costco and bought these boxes of popcorn, and that was what I handed out, and then the little things of water, and I put a little thank you on it. Thanks for popping by. With my name and number. I didn't hand out business cards. I just put that on there. So, yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, unless your listing agent's going to do that, but I kind of leave it to if I'm the listing agent, I leave it to the agent that's doing the open house to make it their own because I want them to feel like it's theirs. I want it to be a natural thing for them because I feel like they're going to get more leads when they're themselves. So they need to represent who they are, not who I am. So, yeah. Let's see. So, with your prospects, build trust and rapport, just knowing about the market and being able to answer their questions, you're going to build that rapport. You want to provide the value. And then, of course, you want to make sure you get their name and phone number so that you can follow up with them. And you can always talk to them about where they're at in the process. That's always a great conversation to have there at the open house. Have you got your golden ticket? You guys know what the golden ticket is? Okay, your golden ticket is your pre-approval letter. Because how many houses do you want to go and show them and then find out, oh, we don't have a high enough credit score. We don't qualify for a house. How many houses do you want to show them that's in the 700s and then they find out we only qualify for 400, right? I mean, that is a legit thing. So in the fall, when interest rates were hiking up, I went from a 550 to a 450. This is what happened with those interest rates hikes. So, yeah, talk to them about that. Get them to your lender and get them pre-approved so you have that golden ticket. So they're a well-qualified prospect that you can follow up with. Engage in conversation and be positive. I know sometimes the market is a little bit scary, but there's always something positive in the market. Always. There's always something positive in the market because somebody is always going to have to buy or sell. Provide value. Have you guys heard of that value squared that they're offering right now? Have you been to it yet? Have you? Good for you. Okay. Okay. Go. I was like, go to it again. You should go to it a couple of times. I had signed up for it last time, but then my team was like, oh, we're gonna do it on this date. So I was like, okay, I won't go. But whatever one they're offering next, I'm going to because I want to watch the last 3. Know your value with our forms changing and the BBC. It's no longer a BBA, it's now a BBC, right? Buyer broker compensation. Yes, you have to know your value so that you can present that to your clients so they know what they're getting from you. Okay, so make sure you know that. Sign-in sheet, use command, use the KW app, ask questions. Remember, you're there to get leads and appointments. So don't just throw up all the information on them. Ask them questions, get them involved, find out about them because that's going to help build your rapport, right? What brings you here today? What made you choose this area? Did you know about this fun park down the street? Is that something that you're looking for? Why are you in Pleasant Grove? Why not Lehigh? What do you do for work? Yeah, those kind of questions. Get to know them on a personal level. Update your database, follow up with all attendees, reevaluate your goals. Did you feel like it was a success? What could you do differently to make it better next time? What changes will you make? I've changed my open house all the time. I've changed it so many times. And I do feel like that the market comes into play, location comes into play, and price point. Price point comes into play. It just does on what you're going to get at your open houses. Let's see. You guys get to plan an open house. Just kidding. I don't think we're going to take the time to do that. But I do think this is where it's going to go into like putting into command. And you guys are supposed to make calls every day or something. I honestly didn't read through all those slides. But have they been having you do that? Yeah. I didn't leave you guys time to do that. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. So a couple of things that I like to do at my open houses. So I told you guys about this. This is kind of fun. I was given this by a lender that I did a couple open houses with. So I usually put this on the front porch. Okay. I have an open house basket that I just keep in I have an office at my house. So I just keep it in one of my cupboards. I have gum in here. I have tape, scissors, a stapler, little candies, wipes, my thank you pop by thingers. I do have some cards, but I usually will just tag this to whatever treat I bring. Hand sanitizer, I always just sit it out. Toilet paper, because if you're doing a vacant home, it never fails. You have to use the bathroom. So, or a little kid comes in and they're like, here you go. Okay. So, extra pens always. I got these little guys at the dollar store, these plastic things. I did a big presentation on open houses a long time ago, which is where I found this California guy, that does the alcohol and food trucks, whatever. And I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, another lady that I found picks hot spots in the home. So unique features about the house, or just like secret passageways, right? Because sometimes houses have those. And if I am doing the open house, then I will be sitting with my seller and I like to ask my seller, hey, tell me a couple of your favorite spots about the house, places that you want to feature, things that stick out in your mind, something about your house that you're really going to miss that a buyer might not know about. And then those are what I pick for the hot spots.
And you'll just put that there, you won't say what it is, like if it's like.
No, I don't say,
Nice.
well, sometimes I do. Yeah, sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll take a little thing. It depends. Like if I'm hosting it for someone else and I haven't walked the property, then I don't know what it is going to be. I'll just tape this on the door, but this is a great conversation starter, right? Because then they're like, what's this mean? And I'm like, oh, I picked this because look at this cool little feature. If it is if I do get a chance to talk with the seller and I do get to print those out, then I will sometimes put those on there. Yeah, I'll write it out. Like one of them. Yeah, check out this amazing backyard. Yeah. Yep. I had a listing in Spanish Fork and they had this massive, like almost oven pizza type cooker, like out of brick in their backyard. And but it was cold. It was last January, like a year ago in January. And so nobody wanted to walk out there. So I just taped this to the door and said, check out the fire pit in the backyard. And everybody that come through the open house commented on it. They had moved out, so the house was empty and staged. So I actually just left this up on the window for all showings. And people, oh, they loved that fire pit in the backyard. I got so many people that commented on that. So things like that. I like to point out certain features of the home, even if it's like, I mean, I walked through a home in Richfield and it had like purple shag. Like I totally would have done a hot spot for that. And I'd been like, check out this purple shag carpet. Like I just would have. The whole house needed to be redone. I'm still going to pick some hot spots. You just don't see purple shag anymore. So I was going to pull that as a hot spot. When you're there at your open house, do a live, go live, walk through the property, talk about your hot spots, show your social media people you're there, you're working with people, and you're doing open houses. Like that just gets you more and more exposure. So, what else do I do? If I don't do like a QR code, then I just do a sign in like this. It says name, email, phone number. Are you working with an agent? Sometimes people feel like this is a little less invasive. So it's not a horrible thing to do it like this rather than a QR code. I kind of bounce back and forth. Sometimes I have this, and if I feel like this isn't working, I'll just hurry and switch them out and go to this. And then I also, sometimes it's fun to do a giveaway. If you know that your property is going to be a really hot property, you'll know if you know your market stats, then do a giveaway. $50 gift card to Amazon. If you sign up, we'll announce the winner on Monday. We'll reach out to you. But if they don't put their name and phone number on there, they don't get entered into the drawing. So, if you're partnering with a lender or something, a lot of times they'll go in on something like that with you. So it's not coming out of your pocket all of the time. So let's see. All right. Tell me some ahas. I want to hear some ahas and some maybe an aha and then something that you want to implement into open houses. Yes.
So it's like you don't get paid for doing an open house, but you sort of do get paid with qualified buyers and all of that.
Yep. Yep. Awesome. Who else?
I actually think the safety thing, like, just to like, because I think you can, when you say you have like a feeling, I feel like people put out that,
Yep.
but then to have like, what's your plan when you get that feeling? Like, you need to
Yes.
have a plan like, actually, there's no one else here at the end. We're gonna just close up early today and get them out of the house, or call
Yes.
somebody while they're there. So
Yes.
that you feel like
Yep.
you don't have to engage and that you have the safety on the phone.
Yes. Definitely. Good.
I like what you said, just ask lots of questions.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
I liked your point about, like the color code, personality, and, just to really understand their personality. Because the yellows are usually really bubbly and they'll like to party. And maybe you're not a yellow, but one of your kids is a yellow. So you know how to kind of bring that conversation back to
Yes.
like questions and getting them to,
Yeah, because if
Yeah.
they just want the numbers,
yeah,
they're
Yeah.
analytical, you need to know that, so
Yeah.
that you can
Yep.
give them the numbers.
yes,
They're feeling, you wanna tell them about the park down the street and the neighbors
Yes.
that are out, or, like, it
Yes.
is smart to tailor that.
Yeah. Yep. And match even their mannerisms. Like you watch their mannerisms and you match it, it makes it a little more comfortable. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Awesome. You get all of these. Looky-loo / buyer, you're gonna know. A lot of times the neighbors will just, hey, how's it going? Good. What brings you to the open house today? Oh, I'm just down the street. I just want to see what they decorate like. I just want to see what they're doing. I've lived here forever. I've just never been in their house. Like, oh, sweet. You just want to take a look around? Yeah, I just want to look around. Okay, go ahead. Like you're gonna know. Or they'll be like, oh, I just live down the street, but I think this would be a great house for my daughter or whatever, right? So you'll know. We talked about prepare conversations. How many closings have come from an open house? I'm so bad at this because I don't keep track. I had a few my first couple years in real estate that I did from open houses, maybe 3 that actually transferred into something. But I don't feel like that my open house game has changed. So if I was to implement a perfect open house, it would look like this. My house would go live on Monday. A sign would be in the yard on Monday saying about a Saturday open house on Saturday. Flyers would be going out. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday would be a door knocking, and even Tuesday, if I could, I would just get a ton of houses. I would door knock as many as I could, and then of course Saturday would be my open house. Even I could do Friday night as well if I was going live on Monday. But the door knocking is probably the biggest thing, and then Saturday I would make sure that I'm there an hour early because I want to get my signs out. I always try and do balloons just because it's super cheap. So I do that. And then I make sure I like to do a ton of signs. Now it depends on where it's at, but if every corner, if there's lots of turns, I try to do signs everywhere. And then let's see. And then I would have like a treat and I'd have it all set up in there. I usually try and bring like a table if there's not one, an entryway table to have this, a chair. And then, yeah, I just hope that my door knocking has paid off and advertising has happened. Of course, social media, I like to go live even earlier, even if I'm just outside putting up the signs. Hey, here I am. This is my new listing. Or, hey, I'm helping so and so. This is their new listing. I'm doing an open house on Saturday. Here's the address. This is the time. I would love to see you or anybody that you know that may be looking for real estate. Anything along those lines. Yep. I would go live. I would do a live at the house in front of it. Yeah. And then the day of the open house, I go live again. And hey, I'm here, you know, walk around the house and show it. Yep.
You know if there's gonna be a table in there or not before you get to the open house.
Sometimes.
Do the countertop.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Yeah, you could use that too. And I have done that before. But I have a little thing like in my garage, I have just like kind of like my open house box. I just have this little section where I've got all my stuff for my open house. I usually just throw it in the back. Then if I need it, great, I have it. And if I don't, then it just sits in my car. So yeah. Yep. I mean, sometimes I like take a blanket because sometimes it's cold. I mean, I know I can adjust the heat and everything, but I'm just if the open house is slow, then I just like to be prepared for everything. I don't know. Yes, Courtney. Yeah. Yeah. It depends on the property, but usually 11 to 2.
What does a successful open house look like? What do you
So a successful open house to me is that I've done the door knocking. And then that I like to have at least one connection by the time I leave. Yeah. One connection. If not a client, at least somebody interested in the property. Like an agent that I could follow up with that may put an offer in, but yeah. That's what I like to look for, but a lot of people. Yeah.
We have to pick up signs here, do we borrow signs from here, or where do we get signs?
I think that you're responsible for your own signs.
But this, training team, they do have some.
Okay.
I don't know how many, but you can ask Molly on the way out.
Yeah, I think they said it was 4.
Open house signs.
There you go. And then, so you're limited to, but they do have them.
I know you can go to, I think you can go to UCAR. It's on Provost or Orem Center Street.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they will sell signs there. So I think you can go there and get, I know our team's gone there and I'm part of Salt Lake Board. So I'm not familiar. I don't see what happens in UCAR a whole lot, just kind of hear what happens. But you can go and get signs from them. And then I'm sure if you were to ask the listing agent, they will probably have signs. Our team has our signs. So I just go get them out of the shed or out of our offices upstairs and use them. So, but we do sometimes have to fight over how many. If we have multiple open houses, then I'm always like, I need to get my signs early so I can get them out. So, yep. Any,
I have to go.
Yep.
Thank you for your presentation.
yeah, you're so welcome.
Good luck to everybody this afternoon.
Yeah, good luck, guys. Hey, I hope I covered all your guys' questions. I hope that this was helpful. I've never taught before, so I hope that you guys got something out of it. Thank you guys. So I don't know.